this is Justin Lubino with Senior Advisors. And on today's episode of Coffee with Justin, I'm excited to introduce Mike Gallo, who's a Vice President of the Northeast region with Marsh McLennan Agency. He's focused on employee benefits as well as life insurance for a very strong firm, great firm, Marsh McLennan. So we're happy to have Mike here today on our Coffee with Justin. Cheers, Mike.
Thank you, Justin. Happy to be here. Cheers.
All right. So we start out these episodes with our coffee questions. The first question we have is what's your kind of preferred or go-to coffee at home that you like to drink?
Well, at home, I like to buy my coffee actually in the Bronx in New York, a place called Sereni's. I take a regular trip, not all the time, but regular trips into Arthur Avenue in the Bronx, and they've got an Italian store there where they've got fresh roasted beans that they grind up. So I like it hearty a little bit. So it's good and hearty coffee. Yeah.
So you're buying several pounds at a time, I assume, when you're heading in there for that trip. Is it?
You bet.
Stock up. Nice.
You bet. Including espresso, of course.
I was going to ask you that. Is the daily ritual, is it a coffee or espresso, a little bit of both?
No, it's really most espressos basically for the weekends or, special events, that kind of thing. I bought a coffee. I actually got a coffee machine for Christmas this year. I had to return it because it wasn't what I was looking for, but so I upgraded a little bit. And
nice.
So yeah, it's coffee every day. I'm not a big coffee drinker, maybe one a day.
Okay.
At the very most. And
Got it.
if I'm out, it's Dunkin' Donuts. If I'm home, it's a hearty coffee from
Nice.
from Italy typically. Anyway,
that'll keep you going. That Italian coffee for sure.
You bet.
So if you could sit down and have a cup of coffee with anyone, you could choose anyone. Who would Mike Gallo choose?
Well, it's not someone I haven't had coffee with before, but my grandfather passed away, I don't know, 15, 20 years ago. And when I was a kid, he owned a car wash in Hoboken, New Jersey, where I'm originally from. I was only born there, really, but my father and grandfather and my aunt, they all had businesses in Hoboken for a lot of years. And I remember going as a kid with him to a little counter in downtown Hoboken that had the little cup, the little plastic or paper cups that they would pop into the bottom.
Okay.
And sit at the counter and have my donut and my coffee. And I used to love those days going into working with him at the car wash. And so I think if I had a choice of who I could have coffee with again, it would be him because he was my first experience with coffee.
Oh, that's great. No, that's a good story. We get a mix of answers to that question, and it's nice to hear, a family member, right, that you had a great experience with. And
yeah,
nice
yeah. And coffee for me is really a solo thing. I mean, other than having some espresso at dinner or on a Sunday or something like that, I'm usually alone with my cup, just like this.
I got you.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for today doing it with me and not doing it solo. I appreciate it.
Oh, no, that I'm happy to do. Absolutely.
So you mentioned family and your grandfather. Maybe if you could talk a little bit about your family and, wife, kids.
Sure. And my wife and I will be married 32 years this Friday. My wife, Susan. So yeah, we have raised a family of 4 kids. I have 2 older boys. I call them the 2 sets. I have 2 older boys that are 16 months apart, 31 and 30. The 30-year-old is actually in the business.
Okay.
He's on the property casualty side for another broker in Bergen County. My oldest son is involved in soccer and just got his teaching degree. So he's got both of those paths. And then 7 years later, after my second son, we had twins, my son and daughter, and one's an accountant, so I don't see him much right now.
Okay.
And my daughter's getting her master's in social services. She wants to work in that area. So we got a busy household. Justin.
Sounds like. Oh, are they all still home?
No, well, my oldest son is married. The
Okay.
31-year-old got married a couple of years ago, and he moved into a house in Bergen County. But I have the rest of the gang with me, and I wouldn't have it any other way, to be honest.
Nice. That's great. Any grandkids yet or not yet?
No, but I'm hoping soon.
Okay.
Unfortunately, it's one thing I can't control.
Of course. All right. Good stuff. So any particular hobbies? I see the dartboard in the background. Is that your kind of go-to, or what's your golf, or what's your hobby really?
Yeah, golf and skiing are probably my 2 best, 2 more fun events outside. I don't mind doing almost anything outside, but the dartboard is a funny story because I wanted to set up this cave, which I finished about a month before COVID hit. and I'm working on my poker table, so I don't really have a chance to play poker on it. And I do get a chance to play some darts, which has been great.
Nice.
But really, my favorite hobby is cooking. I love to cook. I've had some training, very little, but I worked in a number of places through college, and I've had the luxury of working in a couple of nice restaurants. Even a few years ago, I was helping a buddy of mine on the weekends who opened up a restaurant, needed a sous chef every now and then. So I did that for a few years just for fun,
Nice.
because I love doing it. So yeah,
An Italian who likes to cook.
yeah.
That's
Surprise, surprise.
unusual. You mentioned skiing. Are you outdoor ski, like snow skiing or water
Yeah.
skiing? Snow
Yeah,
skiing.
yeah.
Nice.
Slow, not as much as I used to. It's just from a time standpoint,
Yeah.
from a aches and pains standpoint. It's not as easy for me to do, but I do love to ski. I like the whole scene. I like the skiing, the après skiing. I like the snow. I like the fireplaces. You know, the whole gamut.
Great experience. Great.
Yeah, it
outdoor.
really is. How about yourself? You do
Yeah,
as
no,
well?
I just got, well, I was into it when I was younger, and then when I had kids, young kids, I just couldn't. You can't get away for a full day. I mean, it's a full day experience, right? The
Yes,
drive,
it
even if you're
is.
doing a day trip. But my kids just got into it the last 2 or 3 years. I'm a snowboarder, so they snowboard.
Oh,
I'm actually supposed to take my daughter this coming week, this Friday, so we're going for a little day trip. So it's nice. She's finally getting it. Like, this is her year. She's 9 now, and so we can actually ride down the mountain together, which is amazing. It's just a cool feeling. So.
yeah. Snowboarding. When my kids started, I had one or two of my boys took up snowboarding. It's a tough road to get to that point because it's a lot of frustration and a lot of falling and a lot of assistance. But once they do get it, and you're able to do it with them together, and they get past the cold and all the other issues, it really is a lot of fun. Great family sport.
Yeah. Yeah. They say snowboarding is harder to learn, but easier to master. Skiing is easier to learn, but harder to master. That's what I've heard, but I'm not a master of skiing, so I don't know if that's true or not, but I
Right.
consider snowboarding, I'm getting there. So
Neither am I, nor will I ever be on snowboarding. I will never
Great.
try it at this point in time. I
Good
see
stuff.
nothing but pain and disaster.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
No.
So let's just shift a little bit to, the insurance industry, right? So I think most people I've met in this industry have an unusual story. It's very uncommon for someone to just pick insurance, say, I want to be in this, this role or this group. You could explain a little bit about your path, how you ended up in the industry for the audience.
Sure, I'd be happy to. In fact, though, I will say that there are more and more people we're hiring at our company that are coming straight out of college with a degree or a path in insurance, which I found surprising. But few schools in the Northeast, I think Temple's one of them. Temple
Okay.
University, we've hired a few people right out of school
Okay.
with a degree there, and that's helpful, having the background knowledge. Of course, everyone new into sales and has to learn a different path. But I didn't start that way. No, I actually have an engineering degree out of Rutgers University, and it took me 4.5 years, and I finally graduated, and I got out of school, and I started working as an engineer and sitting behind a desk and doing analytics and programming and time management and motion studies. I realized rather quickly that I didn't think I could sit behind a desk and have someone dictate, my income and my what I wanted to accomplish in life. So I knew the owner of the insurance agency that my good buddy worked at, and his son worked there as well. And I got to know those guys, and before I knew it, I was selling insurance. I couldn't even spell insurance. I think I took one finance class in all of my years at Rutgers, and took me a while. But after my father wanted to throw me out of the house because I took an engineering degree and turned into an insurance salesman, and his perception of an insurance salesman wasn't exactly what it is today. Back 35 years ago. I've been in the business 35 years. So it took a little while, but I'll tell you, I couldn't have laid out a better path for me. I think this career in the insurance world is a good one if you stick to it, and it gives you family life balance and work balance. You get a chance. I never missed any games. I never made my own schedule, so I wouldn't have traded in for anything else, to be honest.
It's interesting. It's actually not that different from mine. I did Rutgers as well for management, science, and information systems. So similar kind of, not quite engineering, but a technical degree. And I did that for a little while. And and joined the family business several years ago. But it's good to have that mindset. I mean, with insurance, there's a lot of technical math, associated principles, and so it's good to have that kind of mind as well, I guess. So. So, you've been now with Marsh. When did you start with Marsh? Were they
So
acquired?
Marsh bought the agency I was with about 11 years ago. I was with a company called the NIA Group, and we were in a middle market agency system, one of the largest in New Jersey. And Marsh parent company decided to build a middle market agency system, because really big parent company Marsh and one of their sister organizations, Mercer, really bang around mostly in the Fortune 1000 space. So while they attempted to sell into the mid-market space, it was really a different model. So they created this Marsh McLennan agency division, which was focused on the middle market, which has different service needs. It has different benefit needs. It has different, everything across the board. So we came on board in about 2010. And it was really a continuation of where I was, for the most part, same people, but now with a completely different ballgame.
Yeah, and you say different ballgame. I mean, Marsh McLennan has a great name in the industry, a very, just a great organization. We hear very positive things from all your groups that we interact with. And I guess I'm curious if you could share a little bit with the audience, maybe what's the differentiator? What makes Marsh, what's helped build that reputation as far as how, great a company it is. So.
Sure. Well, I think the number one thing that comes to mind with me is integrity. They are very, very transparent in what they do. They are leaders in every area. That's very community based. Diversity and inclusion are very high up on their list of priorities currently. So they're not just focused on the insurance world. They're very focused on making sure that from an ethical standpoint, from all perspectives, that they are showing by good example of what type of employees and what type of company they want to be. So just from that perspective alone, they're outstanding. When we start talking about the business itself, the resources that Marsh has is unparalleled. Between benchmarking and national presence on leadership boards, they bring an element that really, for someone like us and the Marsh McLennan agency system, where we're working with middle market, it really gives us a very unfair advantage in the marketplace. And I use that terminology a lot when I speak with clients and prospects, because I can bring you Fortune 500 type resources down to your 100 life group company, whether it's on the business insurance side or it's on the benefit side, that you normally would not be able to get working with a middle market agency. So we bring a lot to the table, and I think that differentiates us a lot from our competition.
Oh, that's fabulous. And what I didn't mention in the beginning, but we'll definitely in the bottom of this video, we are going to put Mike's contact information. And if you're in that, you're in HR or you're an owner of a company in that size, Marsh McLennan is a phenomenal organization to work with for your benefits. And you can certainly reach out to Mike and his team, and they'll kind of walk you through what the different services that they offer and all those things that Mike just went through there as well. So I'm curious, in the last 12 months, Mike, what do you see as kind of the I guess the short-term impacts of the pandemic as far as your business goes, and maybe long-term if you see any things going more remote, or what have the impacts kind of been?
Well, I think clients needed us more than ever when COVID first hit. There was so much information out there about how to handle working remotely, both from the employee benefit side and even from the business insurance side. Like things like cyber insurance has become a major issue these days. So our clients needed us more than ever. And then a lot of the outside of the box type stuff. Do we have telemedicine, and are we able to use it? What's the strength of it? Making sure that we were on top of the new FCRA Act and communicating with our clients about what they could do. I personally took it upon myself to reach out to every client that I had several times a month, just to see how they were. How's the company doing? Where are you heading? Are you doing well with the remote? Where are you lacking? Can I help you with any resources? anything that we could possibly do. And then even the people that weren't my clients, people that I might have worked with before, or and I followed them to see where they were heading and what they were doing and whether they were looking for work. Could I help them find a job? So I think a lot of clients really started to drill down to where it was important for them to focus their time and energy. And I think for us, it was important for us to be involved in a lot more than, how's the insurance program and what are the costs. A lot of that, kind of didn't go out the window, but it was not the focus. It was really, how do I help my employees? Can I make sure that they're being taken care of, and so on and so forth. So it was definitely different. And I think that, that's going to continue going down the road. I do. I think technology is going to continue to be the driver of what decisions employers are going to be making. I think it's going to be a more the norm where people work remotely and will need that type of assistance. And I think that we're going to maybe see rising claims as a result of not so much COVID, but additional issues that might come about down the road. So I think there's a lot more that we haven't seen yet that hasn't panned out. And clearly there's a concern from the general public and certainly from our clients that we have to be on top of these things and be proactive about these things without the client worrying about whether or not they have the information they need to be able to communicate with their employees and provide a cost competitive program. So it was a challenge, I have to say. It really was a challenge, but it was a lot of communication. I think that was the biggest thing that worked for me or helped me.
No, that's an amazing, what you said earlier, amazing level of service. I imagine there's not a lot of other brokers out there that reached out to every one of their clients several times a month during the beginning of this. I mean, just to check in and see how people are doing and how the business is going. I hope your clients appreciated that. I'm sure they did. Just to
I
have
think
that
they
touch.
did. Yeah, I think they did. Listen, I think our business is a personal business. It's a relationship business. I think the things that I've always made sure were part of my practice was know who your client is and what their business model is so that you can help them before they ask you for help. So being proactive is important. And, someone taught me this a long time ago, someone who had been in the business for 60 years. I asked him, what was the most important thing you do for your clients that keeps your clients on board? And he said, it's three things: service, service, service. Be on top of your clients, service them to hell, and make sure that they don't look for anything other than from you, and they don't have any reason to go anywhere else.
That's great. And you touch on service and proactive, and that might be a good segue to Medicare, right? And you think about these groups and Medicare is a big topic for these HR departments, and they, HR departments have a lot on their plate, and they're kind of, I see a lot of them as kind of generalists, right? They have so many different topics they have to be aware of. Medicare, sometimes there's nuances with it. And if you could speak a little bit, I know, we've partnered together now been about 5 years now where we've been able to help you and your team and your clients. If you could just share a little bit about that, that Medicare space and how the relationship has been with senior advisors.
Sure, it'd be my pleasure. Yeah, and I agree with you. I think not only is Medicare an important thing, it's also a very complex issue. And employers, when we're talking about it from an employee benefit level, they don't really understand the rules. They don't really understand the benefits. They don't really know where to turn. And then they turn to us, and it's really not a core business for most brokers. And so when I was referred to you by a common individual in our organization that had worked with you in the past, I knew right away I was working with somebody who was knowledgeable, understood it, kind of got the whole picture, knew the corporate side of it. And one particular client that we worked with early on had a very aging population and a lot of questions about what to do, what choices were out there and what options were out there. So you were a godsend from my perspective in that you were able to ease their mind and talk with each one of the individuals in that organization to help them understand, hey, here's your benefits now, here's your costs now, based on what you told me about your benefit programs and your needs for care. Here's your best choices and options. And it wasn't always, hey, you got to jump into Medicare right away, because I got a lot of feedback from my clients over those 5 years that, hey, thanks for referring me to Justin. He was a great resource. I may not make the decision right now, but I know who to call when I have some questions and I'm ready to make that big jump. So it's been a great relationship working with you, Justin. And really, the most important thing for me is that if I know I can refer someone into a client of mine and not have to worry about the referral is the most important part of it. And I can't say that's always been the case with referrals that I've had in the past. I can certainly say that was the case with you so far.
Great.
And I don't expect anything less now.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I mean, and the way you describe it, I mean, really just become an extension of your team. And from a Medicare perspective, that's the way we want it to be. So we're just a resource for you. And we know that, Medicare is a bit of a headache for it's not your primary business, right? You're focused on the bigger, the employee benefits and the life insurance and other aspects of the business. And if we can make these problems go away for you, and also help your clients, that's really our goal there. And to your point, I mean, we would never pressure anyone into something that doesn't make sense. So if they're on the group health plan and it still makes sense for them and they're working past 65, then that's, we're going to tell them that, right? That they should stay on that plan because it's better coverage or lower premium or whatever it is. But if they can get better coverage and, lower premium on Medicare, we're going to recommend that for them.
Of course.
No, we appreciate, the relationship we've had and consider you certainly a partner and a friend, Mike. I mean, it's been, 5 years now, and we've gone into meetings, you brought me in face to face and we've done presentations on Medicare and helped educate these groups. And again, it's not a sales presentation. It's purely Medicare 101 and help answer their questions. And we appreciate you and Marsh McLennan. I want to thank you again for that relationship. So
same here, Justin. I couldn't have said it any better.
Thank you. Thank you. So if just for folks out there in the audience, if you're an individual looking for help with Medicare, our contact information will also be below this video, so you can certainly reach out to us. If you're in the insurance industry, you're a broker, and you're dealing with larger groups or any size groups, and you're looking for help with your Medicare space, that's something we can help you with as well as we do for Mike and the folks at Marsh McLennan. So Mike, I want to thank you for your time today, and thanks for joining us on Coffee with Justin. There it is. And I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'm sure we'll be in touch soon.
Thank you, Justin. My pleasure. Have a great day.
Take care, buddy.
You got it.